David Knight for InfoWars. We're here in John Day, Oregon. This is a small town that Bundy and others were on their way to speak. There were about 400 people here to hear them talk about the BLM. Of course, they never got here. There was a roadblock and the killing of LaVoy Finicum, the arrest of everybody else who was with the two cars that were there. Tonight, the FBI released footage of the killing of LaVoy Finicum. We saw this as it was being done live. The video was a little bit choppy. We also got narrative from the FBI. As Biggs and I looked at this, it did look as if the law enforcement officer was nearly hit by the car. Again, it was jumping as we were looking at it, and that was what the FBI said. However, if you look at the video, which has now been posted up, and watch what happened, they went about a mile after their initial stop. We were told at that point Ryan Payne got out. It's difficult to see what was going on at that point, but they drove for about a minute, so we assume that's about a mile down the road. They hit another roadblock. LaVoy veers off to the left. As he's doing that, there's a law enforcement officer that jumps out from behind these cars, and he veers even farther to the left. Now, if it was his intention to run over them, I don't think he would have continued to veer further out to the left. At that point, he exits the vehicle. His hands are out to the side very clearly. He's unarmed. His hands are out. He walks, takes a few steps. It looks like he stumbles. His arms start to come down. And then it's difficult to tell because we're looking at this only from aerial footage. They've not released any footage from the cars. We don't have any sound, so we can't tell when the first shots are fired by the FBI. Now, we've had multiple accounts in just the 2 days since this shooting happened. We were first told by Mark McConnell, who was late to the refuge, and he was supposedly a bodyguard, I think, in the first car where Bundy was. He said that eyewitness told him, talking about an 18-year-old woman that he did not name, that LaVoy charged the FBI. We didn't hear that story from anybody else, but the FBI did say that they only fired 3 shots. We heard on local radio that LaVoy reached multiple times into his waistband. Now, I don't see that happening in the video. As a matter of fact, you can see in the video that he never charged anybody, so that you can discount what Mark McConnell said completely. The 18-year-old woman that he was talking about was Victoria Sharp. She was traveling in the car with LaVoy Finicum and others. She had an audio interview where she talked about what happened. She said that he had his hands up the entire time, that he was unarmed. She said then that they were not fired at 3 times, and the person interviewing her said, they said they shot at you 3 times. She said, "Are you kidding? They shot maybe 120 times," she said. Now, it's not possible to tell from looking at this video because there is no sound. Nevertheless, as you look at this, you can see flash bangs going off. You can see puffs of snow as they're hitting the ground close to the vehicle. So there's a lot of things here that verify what Victoria Sharp was saying, but throws a lot of questions on the narratives that we've been given by the media that doesn't come across very well for the FBI. And I've got to say, when you look at this video, I find it hard to believe that LaVoy Finicum presented a danger to these officers. If, as they say, they found out later that he had a 9mm pistol that was loaded inside his vest, as he's walking towards them, and said he stumbles, one hand comes down, and then again, this is from an aerial view. It's dark clothing against a white background. You can't tell if he's putting his hand down, but it certainly isn't going into his waist, I don't think, because he's got a coat on. I don't think at any point you could construe that as going into his waistband. I don't think it looked like he was going into his coat. But if he had a pistol, don't you think that somebody like LaVoy Finicum, if that was his intention to shoot it out with him, don't you think he would have come out of the vehicle with a pistol in his hand? I think that it is clearly a case of an unjustified shooting from what I can see with this. We need to see more footage. The FBI needs to release their ground level footage. We need to see that with audio. Otherwise, I'm inclined to believe what Victoria Sharp said. She has a testimony that I think matches up best with what we see. Now, we're going to continue to talk to people in the area, not just about the killing that happened, but we want to talk to them about the grievances that they had with the BLM. The people from the wildlife refuge had been traveling to multiple cities, addressing larger and larger crowds about what could be done about the oppression of the BLM. That's the real story that unfortunately this has detracted from it, and we're very sad to see LaVoy Finicum get killed, but we also need to focus on the national story, something that is happening across this country. People who are in the cities and suburbs need to understand this just isn't a rancher issue. It isn't a logger issue or a minor issue only. They don't want to allow you into these parks. They're going to sell these parks to foreign multinational corporations. So those are the issues that need to be addressed. We're going to be talking to people about that in the next couple of days. I'm David Knight for Infowars.com.
Did you know that only 6 corporations control 90% of what millions of Americans see, hear, and read every single day? It's the illusion of choice. Think about it. The mainstream media is owned by only a handful of megacorporations with vested interest. But on the other hand, the internet is an interconnected network of billions of sources. So you can research information for yourself from multiple sources, or you can blindly accept what you hear or read in the mainstream media, never questioning what you are being told. This gives you a false sense of reality. I mean, do you actually know what you think you know? Or have you been programmed to accept someone else's version of events? Think about it. This is Darren McBreen, and I want you to break the matrix at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.tv and listen to The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on your mind.